Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Saved by Grace. My name is Tasia, and each week I make a video on which the Holy Spirit has inspired me to speak upon, and for this week it is mental health. Reach your hands to the sky. So earlier this week I was reading my devotion, and it spoke about the straw that breaks the camel's back. So there was a story in there that I'm going to read for you, and I think it relates well with this topic. So a teacher once asked his student, "How much does a snowflake weigh?" "Nothing," the young man replied. "Nothing? Let me tell you something. One day I was in this very place where we are right now, looking out the window at a tree that is out front, when suddenly it started snowing. It was not snowing a lot, it was a light snow. I noticed how each snowflake fell slowly on the branches. It seemed like nothing. After a while, as another snowflake fell, one branch broke off. And a snowflake doesn't weigh anything." So the teacher asked the young man, how like if a snowflake was weighed a lot enough to break a branch. But it is not just based on one, it's multiple, and that relates to our mental health. It is not just one thing that affects us, it's multiple things. It might be the same in the same topic or being in the same situation, but multiple things that affect us cause us to break down and to draw back from persons, from different relationships, and even affect how we interact. So as we know, mental health is something psychological, emotional, social, that actually help affect how we interact, think, or behave with people. So Matthew 17 verse 21 talks about the story with Jesus healing the lunatic, and we know that the disciples in that story, they couldn't do it because they weren't up to par in order to do it. However, Jesus had done it, and I looked on it to say that the burden was on the father that had to take care of that child, and the child, he dropped into fires, waters, and to show that the parent had to do a lot for that child because he wasn't thinking for himself. He didn't think that he was necessarily in danger, and that actually not affected the person or the child only, but it also affected the parent. So when Jesus healed the little boy, it actually helped not only the little boy but also the parent, because the parent wouldn't have to be everywhere where the child is, because they're saying what is going to happen to them, to ensure that they're safe. But Jesus had relieved that parent plus that child from that type of stuff, because I believe that Jesus healed it because it is not supposed to be a part of us. And it is so eye-opening that in this day, in modern day today, we're having a lot of mental issues because things keep on adding to each other, things keep on adding on top of each other, and it's affecting all of us. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter what, it always affects everyone. But the greatest thing about that, and I found a verse that really reminisced with this, and it says 1 Peter 5 verse 7, that it says that cast your cares on God, for He cares. And within our mental issues, our mental things that we're going through, the greatest thing is that we have a God that really cares for us, and He is willing to be there for us in order to help us to get through that mental issue that we're having, different type of things that would prevent us from living our best life, if you get what I mean. So our biblical story comes to us from 1 Kings 19 verse 48, and this is a story of Elijah the prophet. So Elijah was a prophet of God. Probably the story that you might have heard about him before was when he went to Mount Carmel, when he went up there with I think 400, correct me if I'm wrong, 400 prophets of Baal, to see whose God is mightier. So the God of Israel and pagan gods. So if you don't know the story, you can look into it, but just to give you a little summary, the Elijah made the prophets go first and said, go, make your God do what he can do. And Elijah in that moment was mocking them to say, is your God sleeping? He must be out or something. But we know with our God, we serve a mighty God. Elijah, on his altar, he threw a whole heap of water, a lot of water, so it filled the area, and it was soaked. The wood, everything on the altar was soaking wet, and there was a trench also around it. And he said, okay, I did this just because I don't want you to think that I'm cheating or anything like that. So Elijah prayed, and God sent I don't know if it's a meteorite or a fireball or whatever, but it blew up everything. So besides from that story, into this story that pertaining to this topic, Elijah, after that, Jezebel, who worshipped Baal, she was after Elijah, and so Elijah had to run. He had to flee to the mountains, the wilderness of Beersheba, in which Elijah was very despair. He was very overwhelmed because he felt he was alone. However, in that distress, God sent an angel to give him food, to provide for him during his journey. And while he was on his journey, or to encourage him on his journey, while he was on his journey, he went to the mountain of God. I think it's Mount, I don't remember, but I'll include the name. And he went on that mount, and God showed his presence to him, to show him that he's not alone. And God asked him, why are you here? And he's saying that, why, God, I'm alone, I feel like I'm by myself, I feel isolated, basically. And God said to him that he's not alone. There's many other prophets out there, but you might not see them, but they're actually there with you. And that is so comforting to us now, to say that we are not alone. The armies of God is camping around us. But yeah, well, continue with the story. So God let him know that he's not alone, and he has many other persons there with him. It's just that he might not see them physically, and gave him the charge to prepare other persons for after he left earth. So basically what we can learn from this story is that anyone can experience this type of hardship. Any single one. It doesn't matter your social status, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter where you are in life. We are prone to it. We live in a world full of sin, and sin is what causes certain things. That's why the Bible says that in the new heaven and new earth, there will be no more crying, no more pain, no more worries, because this is the things that we have to deal with during this lifetime. But after that, once we be faithful, after that we don't have to work at all. So look at Elijah. Elijah was a man of God. He was close, quote unquote, close to God. And it can be a bit discouraging to know that even someone that's close to God is affected by these things. But the greatest thing is that he is not in the negative. Elijah wasn't in the negative. because God is the one that controls everything. So being in connection with the one that creates everything, he will make everything better, especially when you work for him. It'd be like you working for your boss. When you are in certain situations, they are willing to help you because they say, oh, I know you, you are a part of us, you're a part of this company and whatever. But it's the same with Elijah and God. Even though it seems like he's alone, he's not alone. But when it comes to the work of God, we must understand that it's never easy. It's never easy. It's like a fluctuating feeling. It's a up and down, up and down. But the best thing is that we have a mighty God. We have a living God on our side. It's not somebody, and it's not like Baal that's not answering or saying anything to us, but it's God, the living God, the God of Israel, and the God of modern Israel, that is me and you. So we must have comfort in that. And even Matthew 19 verse 26 says, but Jesus beheld them and said to them, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Everything is possible. No matter how dire your situation is, it is always possible with God. I can tell you that. I can testify that God is always here. He's always here, and it's always possible through him. Not through him. Not through you, not through me, but through him. So if you realize, even during the story, Elijah expressed himself to God. That means that he had a relationship with God to even express the fact that he's feeling isolated, he's feeling alone. When you have a relationship with God, it is much different from when you don't. Because then, if you do have a relationship, you'll be able to approach God a certain way. You'll be able to be more open to God, because you know that he's someone that has come through for you before in the past, and you're having faith now to say, God, why my brain is not braining, and I'm not thinking straight. And you're saying that, God, I know you did this before, I know you can do it again. But probably in that situation, Elijah was like, God, this is how I feel, I'm just laying everything towards you. But God, the greatest thing is that God gave him assurance. We must understand that God is omniscient, but God also wants a relationship with us. If you don't tell God, he knows, but if you don't tell him, be intentional with your relationship with God. I made a video on that. If you want to check it out, I leave it in the description. But God knows, but he wants you to tell him. He wants you to tell him. It is not just a one-sided relationship where God knows and then he acts and then everything okay. No, God knows, you tell him, so that you know that he knows, and hold him accountable to that. Not being prideful to say that just because God must do everything for me, but being in a humble manner to say that, God, I know that you know, but I'm telling you again, because I know that when we speak to you, you come through for us. And a verse that comes to us from Matthew 10 verse 31 says, not a single sparrow falls to the ground without your Father's knowledge. So because he knows, he wants you to leave your burdens on him. I'm sure most of us express our feelings to our friends right after we feel much better. So even our regular friends or close friends, persons that we know, we express to them, say, why, I'm feeling so and so way, and I don't feel good, and I feel overwhelmed. And then after, when you express certain things to them, you feel much better. I don't know if it's just for me, but when I express to others, I feel good. And it's the same with me and God. I try to, when certain things are happening in my life, I express to God first. I express to God, say, God, I'm not feeling good, I don't think I'm thinking straight, I need your help. So I seek God's opinion over human opinion. So I seek God first, and then I can talk to my close friend or whosoever. But I want God to know that He's the first in my life. And then Psalm 65 verse 22 says, cast thy burdens upon the Lord, and He shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. He will not. We must understand we are finite beings looking for an infinite God to sustain us, to teach us and balance us. What we believe to weigh nothing start to accumulate over a period of time if we become distracted. And what is apparently everything to us is simply something temporary and perishable. So even though we're going through problems, the bill want to pay, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, many things are on top of our heads. Know that these things are temporary. When you realize that certain things are temporary, we live a certain way, we move a certain way. We don't feel like we are all cooped up with those types of stuff. You start to think with ease. You know that type of feeling that you get when you're at the beach? I don't know if it's just me alone, but when I'm at the beach, I feel so peaceful. I just listen to the waves. I just listen to, birds chirping or whatever. But that's the type of calming feeling you're supposed to have after you release everything to God. And knowing that every single thing is not permanent, unless it's heaven, or we're going to heaven, but temporarily. We have to go to trouble and strife, but we cannot put those things on our brains. We're going to mad, literally. So only the Master can help us to see the different, and prepare us to live a balanced life filled with hope and faith. And I just want to read these comforting words to you, that even though you're in your situation, God actually cares. And Matthew 11 verse 28 to 30, that says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. You shall find rest upon your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So God is saying to us that leave your burdens on Him. Leave all your thoughts, all your things that are really bothering you, leave it to Him. Because why? I said it before, He cares. He cares for you. He wants you to know that all that what you're going through, you can leave it upon Him. You don't have to carry a big luggage. You don't have to be carrying a lot of stress, a lot of problems. And it might be easy to say than done, but do it in a practical form. When you're going through a situation, go to Him and say, God, I'm praying to you today because I know that you care for us. And I'm going through this type of problem. And God, I want you to help me. This, so and so way. You come to Him, letting Him know what is affecting you. And then if you think you know the solution, give Him that idea, give Him your thoughts, everything. You must give it to Him. And I can assure you, after that, after you pray, after you're seeking Him, you will feel light as a feather. You will feel light, I'm telling you. So if you want to leave everything at God's feet, and you want to surrender it to Him, every thought, everything that is coming in your mind towards Him, let me pray for you. Most kind and loving Father, Lord, as I come for you, and I thank you for another day, Lord. Thank you for being with us during this study, Lord, and I pray that you will touch each and every one of persons there, Lord, behind this screen, Lord. I ask you to touch their souls and their minds, their heart, dear Lord, that everything that they will devote to you, dear Lord, that they may know that you care for them in every single way, dear Lord. No matter how dire the situation is. Help them to rely upon you, knowing that you care. You want to take hold of their burdens, Lord. Keep them in perfect peace, Lord. keep us, dear Lord, in your way and lead us in the right direction. Guide us and protect us each and every day. In Jesus' holy and precious name I pray. Amen. I hope this video was encouraging, and I pray that each and every one of us will know that we can rely upon God. We can give our thoughts, everything that is bothering us in our mind, we can give it to Him, because He wants to rid us of that. Thank you for watching. Bye. I know you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. Everything you have, give me you. I hope not to let